Hi everyone! So I'm recording it in a different location in my house today in hopes that the video comes out a little bit cleaner and clearer. Unfortunately, it's right in front of the couch, which means Cam has very easy access to block everything we're doing. Yes. So if you could maybe move for me, go somewhere else, please. Go over there, maybe. No? Okay, well, hopefully he'll move out of the way once things start getting a little bit further. So today we're going to talk about how we can use our information about vertical angles, about complementary angles, and about supplementary angles to help us solve problems. So I call these logic problems because you have to use some logic and reasoning in order to solve them. Kind of think like when we solve Sudoku problems, right? You have to use like well, it can't be this, so it has to be this. Or because this is this, this has to be this, and so on and so forth. So we're going to use that to solve a problem, kind of like this one today that Cam is currently sniffing. Do you want to do for us? Yeah? You want to do it for us? Okay, so here I have 5 angle measures that have been labeled, and 2 have been given to us based on what we know here. We know that this vertical line and this horizontal line create a 90-degree angle because I have a square angle drawn here. So I know that this is 90 degrees. This angle wasn't numbered for us, so I don't have a name for it, but I just know it's 90 degrees. Now, because we know that these 2 lines are perpendicular and it's 90 degrees, and because we know about vertical angles, can we figure out what angle 3 would be? Because they're vertical angles, and because I know that in total, everything has to add up to 360 degrees, right? A circle, all the measurements all the way around always add up to 360 degrees. If this is 90, this has to be 90. All of this has to be 90, and all of this has to be 90, because 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 is 360 degrees. I also know that 90 and 90 is 180, and a straight line has to be 180. This is all of those like, well, because of this has to happen, and there's so many different ways to prove it. So this is logic and proofs, which is a big whole section of math. I took a whole class on it in college, and it's a big thing that comes up a lot in math, and it's one of my favorite things, and that's why I'm so excited about it. So I know that this is 90 because of vertical angles. Number 3 has to also be 90 degrees. So I'm going to fill that in over here. This has to be 90 degrees. Angle 3 is going to be 90 degrees. Okay, so now let's start looking at the other information I have. I have angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, sorry, 4 and 5. So angle 1 is going to be a vertical angle with angle 4. I can tell that because it's a little bit smaller. I also drew one single arch here and one single arch here, and that is another way to tell you that those 2 angles are going to be congruent with each other. Remember, congruent means the same. So these are going to be the same. So angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical angles with each other, which means angle 2 and angle 5 are also vertical angles of each other. So they're also going to be congruent. And that's why you see 2 arcs in there. When there's the same number of arcs inside an angle, that tells you that it's the same as whichever other one also has that number. So this has 1, they're going to be congruent. These have 2, they're going to be congruent. Sometimes you also see that denoted as, if I like make an angle like this, sometimes you'll see it with like tick marks on the angle like that. That also means that they're congruent. I think you'll see the multiple arc one more than you'll see that one, but just so you're familiar with it. Okay, so I know that angle 1 and angle 4 are going to be the same measure, and they told me what angle 1 is. So the vertical angle of angle 1 is angle 4. If angle 1 is 42 degrees, that means angle 4 also has to be 42 degrees. This is also going to be 42 degrees. Okay, so now we got to figure out the other 2, and I'm not given any other information for this. So now we get to start using all of our reasoning to figure it out. We know vertical angles, So because of vertical angles, 5 and 2 are going to be the same measure. So once we figure out one of them, we'll know both. How are we going to figure it out? Well, there's tons of different ways. One way is knowing complementary angles. Complementary angles always add up to 90 degrees. Angle 1 and angle 2 we know is going to be a 90-degree angle because supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. This entire straight line has to add up to 180 degrees. If this part of it is 90 degrees, this part of it also has to be 90 degrees. So I know that angle 1 and angle 2 have to add up to 90 degrees because 90 plus 90 is 180, and this entire straight line has to be 180. So angle 1 and angle 2 have to add up to 90 degrees. Those are complementary angles of each other. And I already know what angle 1 is. Angle 1 is 42 degrees. So I can do 90 minus 42. 90 minus 42. So let's subtract. Let's subtract 42 from 90. I have to make this 8, making this 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. And 8 minus 4 is 4. 48. So angle 2 has to be 48 degrees. Okay, we're almost done. Now we just have to figure out angle 5. And you already know what angle 5 is. Because of vertical angles, angle 2 and angle 5 have to be congruent. So we already know it because of that way. But another way that we can prove it. This is a straight line. So it's a straight angle, which means it has to add up to 180 degrees. If this angle here is 90 degrees, I know the sum of these two angles also has to be 90 degrees because 90 plus 90 is 180. So I'm using the same exact reasoning I used horizontally, now vertically. This is 90, this also has to be 90. And I already know angle 4, so I can figure out angle 5. Same way, 90 minus 42 is 48. Another way I can look at this. The entire thing has to add up. Don't lick the marker. That is not going to be good for your health. The whole entire thing has to add up to 360 degrees. Full circle. Whole thing has to add up to 360 degrees. If I add up everything that I have here so far, plus whatever angle 5 is going to be, it would all add up to 360 degrees. So another method that I could use to solve for this missing one is if I added up all of these measures, 42 plus 48, which I know is 90, plus 90, which I know is 180, plus 42, which I know is going to be 230 something, right? 232, yeah. I can then take that and subtract it from 360, and I forgot this 90. 90 also has to be added here. So plus another 90, which is going to be 300 and what's it? I had 100 and something. Hold on, let me figure it out again. 42 and 48 is 90, plus 90 is 180, plus 42, 180 plus 42 is 222, plus 90, so 312. Figured it out. 312. And I need to get to 360, it's going to be 48. And I know it's going to be 48. I proved it 3 other ways that it was going to be 48. But this is the cool thing about this angle proofs. There's so many different ways to get to the correct answer. Whichever way gets you there, it gets you there. So you know it all adds up to 360. That's one way. You can use complementary angles. So 5 and 4 have to add up to 90. So there's that way. Supplementary angles, this whole entire thing has to add up to 180, so I can add it up that way. Vertical angles, if they're going to be across from each other, I know that they have to be congruent too. So many different ways to get there. You're going to get the same answer. So this one is also 48 degrees, which I know you can't tell because Cam's in the way. Can you please move for me? Yes, please. Great. Okay, so 48 degrees. He just has to be part of everything I do. So 48 degrees.